I think we are what is sometimes referred to as the way showers, that we are the ones to help remind people and help connect people to and to help people understand that there's so much more to our world than what we see with our physical eyes.
Yeah.
And proof that, that exists, it's not something that very few people will get to grasp.
I kind of feel like these awakenings maybe were part of a trip home, what we would call a near-death experience, and it's part of it. And so we were just seeing that there, maybe it's in my experience anyway. And we just had to come back here and live it out. Does that make sense? Whoops. Oh, we lost Megan.
Mhm.
We just had to go through the motions, play the role, I guess you could say. Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Wow. So Michael, your NDE was recent. It was very recent.
Oh yeah, I'm still trying to, knowing that it could take years for like for anybody, but yeah,
Right.
it's still very fresh in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. And it took me about 10 years to just talk about it, to people. Because yeah, and the way I was able to bring it forward is to write, journal and write. And that's how I was able to express it. So and Amira is helping me with getting that book published. So I'm really happy to have her in my life. And that's almost finished. So I'm wondering, Susan, okay, you didn't remember yours right away, right?
I remember trying to express to my parents that, what I had experienced and what I'd gone through. But, being such a young age, I didn't have the words. And the term near death experience, even if I had heard it, actually wasn't even coined for,
Yeah,
at least another decade after my experience, because mine were in 65 and 67.
yeah,
So, yeah. And yeah, and then not sharing it until my 50s.
right. That was
And
I
I actually avoided hearing I never read another person's, near-death experience. I've heard more about other people's near-death experiences in the last few months just because of doing this book than I ever
right.
have before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
just,
think a lot of it comes down with shame. We don't want to be stigmatized. We don't want people to think less of us. We don't want to have these labels on us or be shoved in a box in somebody's mind or even outcasts of society. And at this point, I think we're at a precipice. People are starting to really come into, the spirituality movement has become huge.
Mhm.
And so really, I grew up Lutheran, Missouri Synod. So I
So did
died.
I.
Yeah, Catholic light, right? And I went into my mom's room right afterwards. I'm like, Mom, I just died. And she basically told me to shut up and go back to sleep because it was just a dream.
yeah,
So I'd never talked about it really before. Or I should say after that, until I met Amira, and she was open and welcoming, and yeah, everything that I thought I went through, she helped validate.
nice. Yeah, yeah, she's amazing. Amira May, Near Death Institute. She recently started the Near Death Institute, and so yeah,
This is her very first project too, this particular book, isn't it? And then
I
she's
think
doing some
so.
others now as well, but this was the
Right.
first one that's kind of started it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, she's
she's
done
pretty
other
amazing.
like copy editors or things like that previously, but this is her first collaboration, big kind of project that she's spearheaded.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's doing an amazing job for sure. Megan, we were just talking about whether we remembered our NDE right away or not. Did you remember everything? I mean, we don't even know if we do remember everything. I always say I remember. People say, "Do you remember everything?" I remember what I remember. Okay, now I don't know if that's everything, but but I know I remember something. Did you have memory of it, the whole thing? Well, what you shared?
Um, uh, Pretty much what I shared with you, I remembered right away. But then there was other stuff like I'm trying to think what else. There was other stuff that came in. So it was over a period of a couple 2 or 3 years where I would get things that would just drop in. I remember this one time I was driving and I always listen to Queen, and the song Play the Game came on, and it's Play the Game of Love is basically the message in the song. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. And I could see Freddie Mercury and the rest of the band playing it in heaven. So it was like it connected me to that moment. So I got I don't know what you call it, a flashback or a memory of it. But they built up over the years. And so every time I'd get one, I'd write it down. And yeah, some of the stuff I got in meditation, because I got very, very connected with heaven after this experience. And yeah, I connect every day, every day.
I love that you were going to concerts and things like that in heaven, because I have had out of body experiences. I don't know, I can't even count because I'm a traveler. Where I'm at a concert, and
Yeah.
I'm so and when when you remember being there, you're like, it's not a lot different than here, except for things are brighter and happier and it's all love and it's joy and happy and it's stuff like that. But we're still doing things we love, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely doing things that we love. I mean, there are things that, yeah, there are things there that were just amazing. And the philosophical conversations, that was my experience. I remember swimming in a creek or like a lake or something that was there, and it was outside of God's house. I remember going into God's house. I remember, I've been called back to heaven so many times since then, pulled up and brought back in for experiences numerous times. And so I started writing it down and putting it on my computer, but heaven said, no, don't erase it all, which was good because I had computer issues going through my divorce. So I am really glad that my stories were not on there to have somebody run with. So,
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, the love.
God knows.
Has anybody else here done anything like do any type of regression work to help you remember any of the details?
I did.
Yeah.
And there's some things I don't want to remember.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it is what it is. It's a good thing that I do remember, because now I have a full kind of picture of what happened and why sometimes I think or I do the way that I do. But really it does come to, and the old adage is true: be careful what you wish for. Because some people are just like, I wish I could remember who I was, and I was this great person and all that. Yeah, okay, you might have been this great person, but again, I guess we can really go towards, Spider-Man or something, with great purpose or great, comes great responsibility. And that's true. You have a lot of responsibility, and that kind of choice, that life is going to be a little bit harder. And who knows if it was 50 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, you have no idea what kind of, consequences just that one choice could really
So
bring.
it's the type of life review part of not just this lifetime but previous lifetimes that were not as positive as you would like to have been.
I don't really know how to answer that just
Yeah.
because of how and who I lived and how I, who I was. And I don't really want to give a
Right.
lot when it comes to
Mhm.
that, but there's some things that I have remembered that are difficult. That awakening that I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
I was actually driving in my car, and all of a sudden, it was just like I was transported in my mind to another lifetime, and it was my end scene. So it was very traumatic.
It was your what?
Mhm.
End
My
scene?
end scene.
Oh, when you died?
Mhm.
Okay.
Next, I did not have a life review during mine at all, though seems to be majority of people have.
Well,
Yeah.
my NDE, this was not my awakening's not part of my really NDE. My awakening
Mhm.
happened, I'm gonna say 3, 4 years ago. I was still in California before I relocated. So it was relatively recent. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm still kind of trying to
Still
pull
working through it.
together and deal with all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and I know when I did my regression, I wasn't so much interested in past lifetimes and or pre other lifetimes. I was more interested in specifically asking, was there any details from my NDE that would benefit me in knowing?
Yeah.
Right. I
And I
went
did get a couple more details, and unfortunately, it's been since we even wrote the chapters for the book.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I went
well, now you
into
gotta
my
write your own book.
Yeah.
I went into
No, I
my
think I'm going to stick
regressions.
to the art.
No, I went into my regression specifically with the question, I need to verify if who I remember, who I awoke into when I had that original, awakening sequence, is this real? I need to know if this is real because I am going crazy because my previous mind is telling me yes, this is real, but this mind right here is telling me, girl, no, no. So that was the main reason why is I had to go into that regression session and find out, is who I saw, is the life that I lived, is that real, or am I projecting, am I creating
Okay.
something? And it
Mhm.
turned out I remembered more. So yeah.
I can relate to the feeling that you are going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Going crazy.
Yeah. Because I went
Yeah.
through a quickening, which is what the Ash would call it, because he worked with me through the whole thing afterwards. And it was, yeah, and I was seeing tons of lifetimes, all the way back to galactic wars, Atlantis, and things like that, and a lot of repressed traumas that were coming up, not only in this lifetime, but way back. So as far as life reviews, I believe that I was seeing that afterwards because my body was so uh, battered from what happened, even though it was healed. That's how I was able to come back. But it was so battered that I needed to focus on that my energies needed to be focused on healing my body. And then memories and things like that came later. So yeah, I can definitely relate to the feeling like you're crazy
Lose
thoughts.
my mind.
And I remember my father telling me to, at one point when I was trying to express what I'd seen, that to quit telling those stories, and that's what I did. I just quit talking about it. I didn't quit having the memories. I didn't quit seeing my angels. I just quit talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it was so hard for me to, and waited so many years for me to start talking about it again.
Mhm.
Right.
And it was actually, didn't really think about it this way, but it was after he passed, was before I started talking about it.
Yeah. That's I've noticed that happens with a lot of people when we have those tethers that keep us
Mhm.
from sharing stuff and or doing things that in our spiritual progress or personal progress. And when the tethers are just, disintegrated, doesn't mean we're not
Mhm.
connected still, but things
Right.
start moving along for
Mhm.
us in different ways. Yeah. Interesting. Michael, did you remember yours right away?
I did, yeah, I did. But it was almost like a time travel sickness. You you're so you're here and then you're there and then you're trying to put yourself back together again and it's hard.
Yeah. 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 People
But
say, go ahead.
I do remember pretty much everything, and I did write about it.
Oh, you wrote a book? Oh,
I
nice.
did.
Nice.
I just self-published my own copy, but
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Okay. Good for you. Yeah, I'll have to read that one too. So yeah, people say, "Oh, I wish I'd have an NDE," or "I wish that I could have that kind of thing." No, it takes trauma to have an NDE is what causes an NDE, and even though a lot of us have a glimpse of home, in my opinion,
Mhm.
when we come back, it's not an easy journey afterwards. Most people I've talked to,
Mhm.
it's not an easy journey.
No.
Life completely gets turned upside down usually.
Well, yeah, and when you experience that kind of love, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never had that ever since, and it's hard. It is so hard to know that that kind of love exists, and yet it's not here.
Right.
It's not on Earth.
Right.
Mhm.
Pure
I agree.
bliss.
Mhm.
What's that, Michael?
Bliss.
Bliss. Yeah.
Euphoria, yeah,
Almost,
all of those.
almost as even a better word, rapture.
Mhm.
I think that's what the rapture is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely something that we strive for here, I would say. Yeah.
Mhm.
When you
And
feel
being,
go ahead.
go-
Go ahead, Susan.
I was just say being in duality and the experiences and lessons that we're learning here in these lifetimes, it's like, I don't think we're meant to have that here. It's
Yeah.
like we're going to the school of hard knocks, as they say,
Right. Yeah.
where you can learn many lessons very quickly,
F
but they're
around and
not,
find out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're very hard lessons.
Mm.
And sometimes, like myself, I have to learn them over and over
Mhm.
before I get it right.
Yep.
I don't learn the first time. No, it
I
takes
know,
me
right?
2, 3.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because what goes with duality is judgment. And I think that's something we all are, if we're in the human experience, that's not something we can avoid.
Yeah, that free will thing will get you every
Mhm.
time.
Every time.
Mhm.
I know what
Right.
I'm doing. Do you though?
Do you? I know.
Yeah, do you really?
They're like, "Are you sure? Are you
Mhm.
sure? Yeah.
Would you like to try that again?
You sure you want to put all that on your plate? Okay. All right.
Oh man, I know. From what I've learned, I know that the universe will keep giving you the same test in a different package until you learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, are you done? Are you done?
Yeah,
Really? You
totally.
think so? Here you go.
Next lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Make it
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, totally. That's what I love about where the times we're in now is we can talk about these types of subjects and experiences, and people don't look at us like we have two heads, right? They don't say,
Finally.
"Oh, bring in
Not in
the,
this lifetime, anyway.
what's that?"
Not in this lifetime, anyway.
I know,
One head,
right?
at least right now.
Yeah, Yeah, totally. It's amazing. So we've come a long way, that's for sure, since
Yes.
you know, yeah, I am so happy I came back. As much as I want to be home, I'm so happy I came back to be a part of this shift, because it's yeah, it's pretty amazing. What does everyone here think about that, being here during these times?
I think it's a huge responsibility that we have. And especially after having an NDE, I believe that we have been set. It's almost like being, so we're on a board, right? Let's say we're on a chessboard, but we're not completely in the spot where we're supposed to be. It's almost like heaven just picks, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, picks up our piece and goes, okay, you're here, and this is the way you're going to go. You're the horse, you're the pawn, you're the queen, you're the, you're the king. I mean, so we all have basically a role to fulfill. And earlier, before I got bumped off again, I'd like to comment on something. I think it was Catherine who was talking about coming back. I can't remember, I got bumped off really quick, but I would like to interject that our souls are, we are supposed to, the reason that we keep coming back to this planet, even though there's not, the love like we all felt in the other side, we come here in order to, basically, it's karma. So we come here because we have contracted with God, literally signed a contract saying, all right, I'll go back. I was an asshole, or I was a jerk, or I was a murderer, or I was a whatever in a previous life. I was a horrible partner. I was a horrible parent. Whatever it is, we have to come back and pay for that. And as I found out in my near-death experience, because I asked God, I said, why has my life been so hard? I said, my entire life, I've been like slammed with crap. And he said, well, because you chose 3 lives in one. And I said, what was I thinking? And he said, you didn't want to reincarnate. This is your last time around. And I thought, okay. All right, well, great. So I have to go back? And the answer was yes, you have to go back. And I thought, no, come on. But yeah, no, I better finish this out, because I do not want to come back to the gangster planet anymore. Not happening.
Gangster planet.
No. I refer to it
This
sometimes.
is not a gangster's paradise, okay? That's for sure.
Yeah, no.
It's not a what? What's
Gangster's
that?
Paradise. I think it's
No.
from Coolio, 90s
It
song.
was. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from the Bay Area, California, like a smaller farmish town, but it was just about an hour and a half away or so from Oakland and San Francisco. So I'm a little gangsta and I'm a little country. So really the duality, I drive myself crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Even I can't stand myself sometimes.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I know 90s gangster rap and I know 90s country. So yeah.
That's a nice dichotomy there. Huh. Thanks, Megan. Yeah, that makes total sense for sure. That we come back to, I mean, why would we be here if we weren't here to heal or right the wrongs or whatever it is that we hadn't? It makes so
Yeah,
much
and the
sense.
other thing is that as a soul, now we know better, and so we have to perform at a higher vibration. And so it's like I dread the thought of going back to heaven and not trying my hardest to get the messages of love out that I have, that I've been given. If I don't try, God's going to look at me again and go, all right, look, we did this, and this for you. We did this, and this. And we thought we had you in 2007. What's the deal? What am I going to say? Oh, I was too afraid to talk about, Prophet Muhammad being in heaven with Jesus and you. Oh, I've been slammed for that. And I'm thinking to myself, look, if your human mind cannot handle that concept and you cannot conceive that, Prophet Muhammad was here as peace like Jesus was, then that's your issue, not mine. It's your bag, baby, not mine. Remember Mike Myers? Anyway, so it's just, it's people need to step outside of their comfort zones and realize that, look, we as humans, we don't know anything. And that is one of the things that it was a huge lesson for me in heaven, was that we don't know anything. We know nothing in the whole grand scheme of things. We're just like the ants, the worker ants. We're here working, and we're all working in unison, whether we understand that or not. And there's the queen, right? Okay.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
Susan,
know I
you
failed my last mission, so that's
go
why
ahead.
I'm here.
What's that, Catherine?
I know I failed my last mission, so that's why I'm here.
Oh,
Somebody else made a choice that wasn't on my path, and I got kind of roped in. So yeah, good times.
get roped in.
Got roped in. That was great. So here I am. Now replay, I guess. Take
So
two.
what do you feel about being here during these shifting times, during these, I feel they're amazing times.
In a way, it's chaos.
Yeah.
In a way, it's excitement. And in a way, I still feel like I'm waiting for my story to unfold. Like I have been diligently working for years, not only on myself, on my healing journey, but then getting this inspiration for my business, how I was going to be able to put everything together that I needed to put together, how I was going to create something beautiful to help others heal and still make it accessible for everyone that walks into the doors. So I know I have this monumental task, and I know I figured all of that out, but I'm still kind of at that precipice. I'm kind of at this place where, number one, I'm really waiting for TDI to take off. And I've had just resounding support from the community, people that I've talked to. And then the second one is I know that there was a person that I was attached to previously that is also here. I just don't know who he is. I don't know where he is. I don't know when I'm going to meet him. I don't know what's going on. So part of that, it's also like I feel almost incomplete. So I'm kind of now at this point where I'm putting this all together, and I put so much work into everything, and I'm not quite there, and I don't know other than another way to put it, other than it's chaos, it's incomplete, it's almost there. It's kind of like birthing pains.
Yeah.
It's like birthing pains.
Yeah. That reminds me of a conversation I had one time, quite a few years back, 20 years or so, 15, 20 years ago, when I had started coming into my abilities and gifts with what I do now, and being in this realm, this world. And Saint Germain, and I kept saying, talking to my peeps, Saint Germain was one of them who I was working with at that time very closely. I said, when am I going to get there? Why is this so hard? How come I can't get this? And how come I can't get that? When am I going to get there? He goes, first of all, there is no there. And second of all, don't be so quick to dismiss the journey, because the journey is the destination. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I get it. Yeah. Because I found that when I have my goals, whenever I get to that goal, there's always something more. That's a human condition. You know what I mean? And that's good. There's always something beyond that we can strive for, right? I guess that's what it's all about. Anyway, so that was my message that made sense to me at the time.
Well, all I want to know is I want to see that contract I signed, because I need to go through the terms and conditions, because I'm telling you what, I signed up for something, and I may want to that.
You and me both. Because
search for the word there. Search for the word there. Okay. Find out where that word is. I know. When am I going to get there? Okay. Yeah. Susan, how do you feel about being here in these times, these shifting
There's a lot of
times?
times I think we are what is sometimes referred to as the way showers, that we are the ones to help remind people and help connect people and to help people understand that there's so much more to our world than what we see with our physical eyes.
Yeah.
And proof that, that exists, it's not something that very few people will get to grasp. And we are some of the few that have been given that gift. And not every day do I think it's a gift. Most days, but not every day.
Yes. I like that. The way showers, the light bearers, the torch bearers, I guess you could say. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I think, all those words kind of seem to fit. And I think there's more than the Bible says 144,000. I think there is way more because we're at that point. I think we're at, it's darkest right before the dawn. And I
Yeah.
kind of think that's where we're setting.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Michael, what about you? How do you feel about being here during these crazy times?
It definitely feels like Pandora's box has been opened.
Sorry.
Things.
Who did it?
Hope was found at the bottom of the box. That's what we need to remember.
Yeah.
Who
That's
broke
true.
the seal?
That's
Who did it? So I'm actually wondering from all of you, with such a connection, let's say, to the unseen, the other side, however you want to put it, do you find yourself, and let's say like I am, at points where you can feel something coming together in the ether, like that there's something coming together, you don't know what it is, and it's causing you, either anxiety or depression or even happiness and joy. I mean, do you guys feel that way as well?
Totally. Yeah.
We're on the precipice.
Yeah. It feels like for me personally, when I feel like that, there's usually some kind of breakthrough in my own life. And then that spreads out, if that makes sense. It's like a domino effect where I see breakthroughs in the community or whatever. And yeah. And it comes in waves for me. It comes in waves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like the pressure builds. For me,
Yeah.
the pressure just builds to the
Mhm.
point where, I say I have to have a breakdown before I have a breakthrough. Um, but for some reason, it just feels like at times the pressure is building and building and building. And because you're human, right? And you don't want to be, over emotional, especially if you're at work. You don't want to, have these negative connotations in other aspects of your life. Sometimes you just have to or try to keep it to yourself. So yeah, the biggest thing is when I feel this, it's like, okay, so here's another cycle. The wheel is turning.
Right. Tell us about your institute, Catherine.
Okay, so the Dawning Institute is basically a birth from my healing journey. I didn't really have the resources to go into counseling and go through all these other kinds of therapies. In fact, there's a lot of trauma surrounding my experience when it comes to the mental health field, just because that's what my mother weaponized against me. So it was really like I was put on very high, powerful medications that basically stole my life and my mind for 21 years. And that's because she wanted to have absolute control. She didn't like the fact that I had a voice. She didn't like the fact that I had a mind of my own, and she didn't like the fact that I was calling her out on the abuse that was being inflicted. So she had to silence me. So because of all of that, I finally freed myself a few years ago and decided to venture on this very long, arduous healing journey. And so the Institute comes from all of those experiences. I had a life coach that she's amazing. She really is an earth angel. I had a Reiki healer. I had someone that does quantum biofeedback. I had someone help me out with hypnosis. I had someone else helping me out with, just a lot of various other modalities. And through the years and their guidance and their love and their patience with me, I came to a point where I'm like, I know this works, but how am I going to bring it together? Like, how can I unify people and heal people at the same time? How can I find a way to bridge all of these gaps? How can I make a difference in the world? Like I since I was a little girl, I knew I was here to do something big, and I of course you're 3, 4, 5 years old. You have no idea what that is. But I knew I was here for a reason, and I just didn't know what it was. So here I am. I'm thinking about this, like, how am I gonna help people? And really came out of a trust nature walk / meditative session where I was just asking God, the universe, all of that, how do I help people? How do I bring people together? How do I unify my community? And it wasn't a day later when everything came together. So really right now, I have a hypnotherapist, I have a nutritionist, I have a biofeedback specialist, and she also teaches Qigong. I am looking specifically more towards counselors and life coaches and physical fitness instructors, financial planners, really everyone that can support someone's body, mind, and soul to go from a place of pain and poverty and bring them up, help them up, not a hand up or not a hand out, but a hand up. Because I know more, more for my own. You cannot change until you are ready to. You've got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I was able to figure out, okay, if I bring everyone together in one place, number one, that doesn't exist anywhere else. I did a lot of looking, yeah, you'll find places that has massage therapists and Reiki healers and all that, but no place else in the nation will you find a place that has counselors, that has the metaphysical, instructors, that has, nutrition, that has financial, everything in one location to support your growth. And I'm like, okay, so how do I make this accessible? How do I bridge the gaps between affordability, accessibility, and sustainability? How can I help someone who lives on the street elevate their life, basically? And I realized I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Base it on a salon and make it all, basically fully collaborative. If somebody has a client that really needs to go see a counselor that is in the same building, go see the counselor in the same building. Keep them here, help elevate their life in one place, so that way they don't need to get a babysitter and go one place and then 30 minutes for another appointment and then an hour to another appointment. Have everyone to support your entire journey in one place, and really reward my practitioners, my professionals, to provide these outreach or free services. And so the way that I did that was also kind of reinvent the model. And I know that right now the let's say base rent for a space, at least in the salon that I see, is 20%, right? So net everything 20%, all your clients come in. My plan, and the people that I've been able to bring on, I charge 30% for the space, but the caveat, and this is how I'm able to give our outreach services, provide those outreach services, is that I take 1.5% off of their rent for every sliding scale client that they see per week, and 3% off of their rent for every pro bono client or outreach client that they see per week, down to a basement of 18%, which is just under market rate. Basically, I reward them for going out into the community and helping heal, unify, and uplift. That's why I'm here.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Good for you. So that's all brick and mortar. Is it all, or do you do online as well? Or?
So right now I'm getting everything together online. But really, in order to have the maximum benefit, it will be, I'll have my providers mostly in an office space. However, because of the way that our world is, absolutely, there's some appointments that are going to have to be held online. And I'm going to try to, I'm putting all the pieces together for that as well. How am I going to do that with the business model the way that it is? But yeah, I mean, I even had someone from Texas and someone from Florida reach out and say, I love your idea. I love what you're doing, but I don't live in Seattle. How can I be a part of this? And so I'm thinking, you know what? When the good Lord gives you, an opportunity, you better go with it. So I'm starting to put together, it looks like a national network of providers that really believe in the body, mind, soul interconnection.
Good. So how can people get a hold of you, Catherine?
So right now you can visit my website at dawninginstitute.com, or you can reach out to my email at info@dawninginstitute.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Susan, how can people get a hold of you and your work?
The easiest way is through my website, susanwalterart.com. I did recently move my art studio to a new art center that is just finishing up complete construction right now, called the Zhou Art Center, and that's spelled ZHOU. So I have a studio there where I can meet people in person, but I can also do almost, the angel portraits and other sessions I do can be done via Zoom.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. And Megan, would you like to share your work or what you would like people to contact? If you would like people to contact you, I'm assuming you would want them to buy your book.
Well, yeah, I would like that. I would also like to offer my services as an inspirational speaker, and spreading messages of love the way in which I learned them in heaven. And I have a podcast myself called Conversations with Megan on Spotify and Apple. Put in my last name Brown, it'll come up quicker. I also offer readings, so I'm a psychic medium as well, because as a result of that near-death experience. And I connect with heaven all the time, and I love it. And I'm also, I do heaven's magic, which I don't know anybody who does that, meaning specifically heaven, where it's all about love and energy. And I learned it in heaven with Merlin and Isis and Archangel Michael, who is the king of magic himself, and Kali, who is the queen of magic. That's what they're known as in heaven. So I learned from them over the years, after my near-death experience in 2007. And it's been incredible because I've actually helped, by listening and channeling the energy I've helped people heal, and it's been very rewarding for me and fulfilling psychologically, emotionally, and soulfully, where I feel like, wow, I can connect heaven to earth here, and with people, just have patience, but it can definitely change a life. And I had one story that it was just the most incredible story, where this woman, she didn't believe in my near-death experience, or, when I tell her, oh yeah, I do jars, and, and they're heaven's jars. And she didn't know what that meant. But when her daughter got ovarian cancer, stage 4, she called me up and she said, look, I don't know what it is that you do, but I will do anything for my daughter. She has off the charts numbers, and she's been given 6 months to live. So I said, well, okay, you may not know what I do, but here's what I need. So I told her what I needed, and she sent me the things that I needed. And then I put it together through meditation and channeling. And within 2 months, the story completely changed. And doctors at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles wanted to add this woman to their, oh my gosh, what happened stories, because they'd never seen a turnaround like this before. So I got a call and a thank you for what I had done. And I said, oh, but it wasn't just me. I'm just the catalyst to like put it together on earth. So it was very, very soulfully fulfilling. So I do that as well.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Megan. And Michael, is there anything you'd like to share?
I don't have any product to give or offer, but if anyone wants to reach me, I can be reached at my Instagram, Mayhood Michael, or my Facebook, Michael Mayhood. That's it.
What about your book? Where can people find
it's
your
not
book?
really for sale yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. All righty. Thank you. Well, we all have a book coming out, which will it will be for sale soon, and we do have pre-sale opportunities too, and I'll put that down in the details as well. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoy getting to know you guys all much better. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, same here. Yeah, we'll have to do this again. Once the book is out, we'll have to come out with our book and show our book,
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And please do that YouTube thing, subscribe, like, and comment. And blessings to everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.